Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm back to break down this 5-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Before we get into it, if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. YouTube continues to tell me that about 70% of my audience is not subscribed, so if that's you and you enjoy this content, if you could take 1 second to do that, that would be awesome. And before we get into the breakdown, I do have some good news to report. Last night, kind of can't keep a smile off my face. I was able to take down a few tournaments over on FanDuel. So like we did before, I had a good night, so I wanted to just break down my thought process for you guys, go through the lineup, think about, talk about what I was thinking about, and hopefully help you guys with some lineup construction and some rules and stuff to look at and to follow. So I came in first in the slugger, the monster, the pickle, the keystone, the home run, the knuckleball, the MLB blast, the line drive, and I did it with this lineup here. Open up the monster. So what I went with is I ended up going with David Peterson at the pitching position, which you might think is crazy, but there is a bit of a method to my madness here. So he ended up going out there. He pitched 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 10 Ks in the win. And so he was 6-4 on FanDuel. And we had McCullers, Charlie Morton, Carlos Rodon. Those are the guys I was really talking about being interested in the top tier. And then priced down, I had David Peterson here at 6-4. And what I found was if I put him in, well, first of all, okay, so looking at my sheet yesterday, if you go to David Peterson here, nothing impressive really across the board as far as like strikeout rate or anything. A 19.9% K rate, 11.2 swinging strike rate, 18.1% K rate against righties, and then a 27.3% K rate against lefties. So really good against lefties, but I mean the Philadelphia Phillies had a lot of righties. But if you go over to my team hitting data sheet and you sort it by K rate, as far as on the season here, and look at the Phillies, they're actually bottom 5 in the league in strikeouts with a 27.6% K rate overall. And then when you scroll over to how they fared against lefties on the season, they've been striking out at like a 30% clip. So I factored this in, and then I went and I thought, well, he's pitching in Citi Field, which if you look at Citi Field, it's a great pitching ballpark as well. And if I went to Peterson, I was able to fit in the top 3 hitters on Atlanta and the top 4 hitters on the Dodgers, which both of those teams are powerhouse lineups. So I had Ender Inciarte. This lineup fit in perfectly. There was no dollars left on the table as far as salary is concerned here. So I had David Peterson. Like I said, huge performance, but I also had the upside of the top 4 guys in the Dodgers lineup and the top 3 guys in the Atlanta lineup, and it correlated very well because Ender Inciarte was at the bottom of the order, and I had actually talked about him yesterday in the video. He wasn't all that exciting of a play in the Braves stack, but he was minimum salary on FanDuel, and I figured if he could slap a few singles, get on base, and then get hit around by Ronald Acuna type of deal, that would be a good correlation play, and he's minimum salary, so it's not going to hurt me any. And yeah, so that was my overall thought process there. First tournament takedown for me. I've taken down single entry before, but this is the first I've come in a multi-entry tournament. So exciting stuff. And I just wanted to share with you guys my thought process, and hopefully that helps you with thinking when you're building your own lineup. So, the pitchers strikeout rate sometimes can be outweighed by the opponent and the ballpark, etc. And then with the bats you could fit in. So that was my thought process there. I thought he had enough upside with the bats. I thought he was in a good pitcher's ballpark. I knew the Philadelphia Phillies have been struggling out of the gate. They've been striking out a lot. So with the bats and with him in my lineup, I felt really confident about it. And I was able to have a big night. So I don't usually share this stuff with you guys as far as like every night my results and stuff, just because I don't really want to make my content all about me. But when I get a big win, I just want to kind of share the thought process, hopefully help you guys. Like, these are the things you should be debating on when you're building your MLB lineups. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down the slate today. We got a 5-gamer. And so as always, I'm going to start at the top. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. Figure out these top pitchers that we want to play today. And before I do that, if you are interested, I do offer some premium content that's linked below in the description. You get access to all the tools and stuff, like a little bit of a sneak peek behind the paywall there of the stuff I just went over. But you're going to get my hot hitter StatCast data tools, splits leaderboard, team hitting data, all the stuff I was just talking about, bullpen data. And then you also get my power rankings and my cheat sheet. But with all that out of the way, let's get into it. Patrick Corbin, top pitcher on the slate right today, has a 26.3% K rate, a 13.4 swinging strike rate. Ground ball and fly ball stuff's really good. A 24.2% K rate against righties, and then a 35.1% K rate against lefties. So really good, and he's taking on an Arizona Diamondbacks team tonight that has not been good out of the gates. They're very dreadful. And I do think that Patrick Corbin's going to be a top option on this slate today. He has an 8-1 price tag on FanDuel over on DraftKings. I got him priced at 7-8. And I do think that he is, in a great spot. You're taking on this Arizona team. They don't really scare us all too much. He's a 179 favorite. His team's expected to put some runs up and give him some run support. So I definitely think that Patrick Corbin is a great option tonight. Next on the list, you got Rich Hill taking on the Texas Rangers, which is a team we've been wanting to target a lot this year. He has a 26% K rate overall. Ground ball and fly ball rate's pretty respectable. A 26.9% K rate against righties, and then a 22.7% K rate against lefties. So Rich Hill, you know what you're getting with him. He can be a little bit streaky at times, but the thing is, he's taking on a Texas Rangers team, like as I just said. We've been targeting them all season long. They have a ton of strikeouts in this lineup, and they do have quite a few lefties in the lineup as well. And when you're factoring that Rich Hill is a lefty himself, really good slugging, hard contact, all that stuff against left-handed hitting, it's just going to make me like him even more. And he's pitching in the Trop in Tampa, so that's going to help his case even more. Lots of strikeouts. Kenner Fafella, David Dahl, Joey Gallo, Jose Trevino, Nate Lowe, Adolis Garcia. All these guys, there's going to be Ks in their bats. So if you want to go to Rich Hill, he's the second guy that you should probably really take a hard look to on this slate. And we do have like 3 guys that are really going to stand out, or maybe even 4, maybe like Julio Urias, Sean Manaea, as far as on the slate today. And distinguishing between them, I think it might be some site-dependent thing. Like on DraftKings over here, we got Urias priced all the way up to 10-1. Rich Hill's 9K. Patrick Corbin's at 7-8 and 7-4. Like I think Patrick Corbin and Sean Manaea are priced pretty friendly on DraftKings in comparison to Rich Hill and Julio Urias if you're trying to pay up for some bats. But of course, Rich Hill, like I said, great play against Texas and that kind of thing. So I think that you have some flexibility in your lineup build, and you don't need to get all too crazy with pitching tonight. You can go to either, any of these guys and feel pretty good about it. So Sean Manaea taking on the Detroit Tigers, a high K rate, 22% K rate overall. Ground ball and the fly ball stuff's really good. 21.3% K rate against righties, and then a 23.9% K rate against lefties. And we just know what we're getting with this Detroit Tigers team. They're not the scariest presence, and it is in Oakland. Great pitcher spark as well. So I do think that Sean Manaea is viable. And then you can look at Tariq Skubal on the other side. It's a little scary taking on this Oakland Athletics team that I really like to stack against left-handed pitching, to be honest. But he does have a 25.1% K rate. That's third on the slate. 23.8% K rate against righties, but the slugging and the hard contact's really, really bad. And then the K rate ticks up to 31.3% K rate against lefties. So do I think you could play him? Yes, it's a little scary, and I tend to think I'm going to be on the Oakland Athletics side of things. I'm a sucker for those Oakland Athletics bats when they take on a lefty, but I think for good reason. They're good against those lefties. So, that's what I'd really be looking to pitching wise on the slate. I don't really think it's necessary to get cute with anyone down here. I haven't built my lineups yet. Like lineup construction is a thing always, but Tanner Roark taking on the Royals possibly, because the Royals do have some Ks in their lineup. He'd probably be my cheapy option that I'd be willing to take a chance on, but it's not like I'm all too excited about him from a first glance at things, but he'd probably be my cheapy option, as I always like to give you guys, one option that's on the cheaper end if I can. And with that being said, let's transition over to bats. Sort my sheet by Sierra. And the worst pitch on the slate tonight is going to be Austin Gomber taking on these Los Angeles Dodgers, a 5.5 Sierra. Ground ball and fly ball stuff's not terrible, but he has a really big walk issue. Against righties, he really doesn't give up a lot of hard contact, which is a little ironic. being that he, is a left-handed thrower, and if you look at his numbers against lefties, he's actually struggled a lot more. So the numbers are a little bit deceiving. Like, he has a 38 innings pitch sample size. The K rate, the swing strike rate's bad. The SIERA is really bad, which is, to me, a telltale sign that someone isn't that good of a pitcher. Like, that's why I always say I sort my sheet by SIERA, skill, interactive ERA. I think it's just a great way of figuring out really how good a pitcher's been over the course of their career, or in this case, the last 2 years in my sheet. But yeah, a little bit of a head scratcher there. Like, data is very controversial, but I mean, it's the Los Angeles Dodgers. Let's be real with ourselves here. You can stack them up every single night. Like I said, there's a reason I was stacking them up last night. There's an absolute powerhouse, and taking on the lefty, I'm still going to really, really like Justin Turner in the 3 spot. Absolutely matches lefties. Got to like him. Mookie Betts at 4.6, the top order, no issues. And then from the numbers, I don't think there's an issue with us playing those lefty bats either. So Max Muncy, Corey Seager, that kind of thing. I have no issues with stacking up these Dodgers for sure. Next on the list is Jordan Lyles taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. A little bit of a disclaimer here. We have another situation where the Texas Rangers are going to roll out the righty, and then the long reliever is going to be a lefty. So you got to know that if you're stacking up this team. Like, if you're stacking up Austin Meadows, Brandon Lowe, these lefties, and they come up and they hit a home run, and you're like, oh, they're going to come up and hit another home run off Jordan Lyles. Well, Jordan Lyles might not be out there type of deal. Now, of course, if they hit a home run their first at bat, you're looking pretty good, but if they get out and Jordan Lyles gets pulled, you're still facing that lefty. So just a little bit of a disclaimer there. If you are looking to go to the Rays stack today, they're going to go to that long reliever, so be aware of that. But I do definitely think that you can stack up the Rays. The Rangers don't have the best bullpen, even though it's a lefty. It's not like it's an elite lefty. And Austin Meadows, Randy Arozarena, Brandon Lowe, Yandy Diaz, like, stack up the top of the lineup. I have a tough time really wanting to stack the bottom of this lineup outside of, Mike Zunino and Willy Adames really hit left-handed pitching well. So the fact that they're bringing on the lefty after is a little enticing to me. So those 2 guys may be a little bit of a sneaky play. Next on the list, Tanner Roark taking on the Kansas City Royals. I talked about maybe pitching him. His numbers aren't that good. You could play him with bats as well. It's on a huge slate. Looking at his splits, a 5.17 slugging, even up to right-handed hitting, a 20.2% K rate against lefties. It's a 5.01 slugging with a 3.67 WOBA, a 43.2% fly ball rate, and a 30.8 ground ball rate. So, it's not like Tanner Roark's lighting the world on fire. I said you could pitch him maybe if you need to go cheap, but you can also definitely play some bats. 57 degrees in Kansas City, not the best case, but I mean, looking at the weather across the slate, it's not like we're dealing with anything fantastic. It's 58 degrees in Washington, 57 degrees in Kansas City, 57 degrees in Oakland, 61 in LA. It's all kind of the same thing. So ballpark factor-wise, Kansas City, not the worst hitting environment. I don't have an issue with stacking up this team, this Royals team, like I said, and looking at his splits and everything. It's not like we can really distinguish. I mean, he's pretty bad against both sides of the plate, so I'm really just looking to play the best hitters in the lineup. So top of the lineup, you got Whit Merrifield, Benintendi, Salvador Perez, Carlos Santana. And I do think that the 5 through 7 is interesting as well. Jorge Soler, Michael Taylor, Hunter Dozier. There's a lot of power and speed in that trio. So 1 through 7, no issues with you stacking them up tonight. Merrill Kelly taking on the Washington Nationals. He's got another option. Not really that good across the board. A 4.65 SIERA. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's less than impressive. Hard hit rate's less than impressive. He gives up a 4.61 slugging to right-handed hitting. And then against lefties, he gives up a 4.31 slugging. And this Washington team is very enticing to stack. Not going to lie. Like, tonight might be the night that I stack up Washington for the first time. Because I've been wanting to do it for quite, a few slates now. Just because, I mean, you got Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Kyle Schwarber, 3 through 5. That is a juicy stack, and you're taking on a guy that's really not good at throwing baseballs past major league hitters. So I really like that. I can put all those guys in my stack. That's a lot of power from the left-handed side of the plate. And then you can put in Trey Turner or Victor Robles at the top of the lineup to add some speed in your lineup. Or you could even play Robles and Turner and then Soto and Bell, or Soto and Schwarber, or Bell and Schwarber and fade Soto to get different. There's a lot of possibilities with this lineup. So I think I'm pretty excited about Washington tonight. Jacob Junis taking on the Toronto Blue Jays, another guy we can really target. A lot of hard contact given up. A 4.58 slugging against righties, a 4.86 slugging against lefties, so really struggles against both sides of the plate. And you're starting to learn very quickly here. We have a lot of options for bats tonight. Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Randall Grichuk, Cavan Biggio, Lourdes Gurriel. I mean, this Blue Jays lineup's just loaded up and down. You know, I would make it a priority getting Bo Bichette and Vladdy Jr. in my lineup if possible, of course. You know, those are the top 2 bats in the lineup. But, I mean, they got guys all throughout the lineup that can hit. Cavan Biggio has plenty of power. Rowdy Tellez has plenty of power. Like, if I'm making a lineup and I need a cheaper stack and Toronto's cheaper and I can fit them in, I have no issues with going to the bottom of this lineup. They're just so loaded all throughout. So, I think that they're a great option. The Oakland Athletics taking on Tariq Skubal. I had mentioned his issues against right-handed hitting. I mean, some major hard contact, giving up a 6.16 slugging, 396 WOBA, 58.7% fly ball rate, a 21.7% ground ball rate. And the Oakland Athletics just have guys that rake lefties. Mark Canha, Ramon Laureano, Jed Lowry, Matt Chapman. My favorite would be Canha, Laureano, and Chapman. But then you go down to Sean Murphy, Steven Muscati at the bottom of the order, Elvis Andrews. Like, all these guys can hit lefties. Even Matt Olson himself isn't the worst against lefties. I mean, it's less than ideal. But, I mean, you could play him. Looking at Skubal's numbers against lefties, really, really good. I have a hard time. I don't think I would play Matt Olson, but maybe it's contrarian in tournaments. Maybe people are scared to go there. If they're not scared to go there, I think I'd rather be on the side of not having him. But that's, I mean, a 133 slugging giving up a 154 WOBA, like those are really good numbers. We're only dealing with a 41 innings pitch sample size, but I mean, that's like elite stuff against lefties. So that's a little scary for me to be going there. In tournaments, anything's free game. Of course, he could hang one, and Matt Olson can hit the ball 500 feet. So, yeah. And that's where things kind of dip off for me, honestly. I'm not really trying to look to anyone down here. Taking on, I mean, if anything, Patrick Corbin, you can see he has some issues against right-handed hitting at times, taking on Arizona, but it's not like Arizona really has anything. Like I told you, this lineup's not good. So I kind of have a hard time going to anyone. Like, I don't even know where I'd start. Nick Ahmed and Carson Kelly. Those 2 guys hit lefties really well. So maybe throwing in a Nick Ahmed, a Carson Kelly. But other than that, I'm really not excited about that stack, and I'm really not excited about them overall. But if you're stuck on one last guy, you can fit in Nick Ahmed and Carson Kelly. I give you the green light to put them in your lineup. So, and with that being said, that is my overall breakdown of this 5-game slate. Before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Mark Canha taking on Tariq Skubal, who I had mentioned has some serious hard contact issues against right-handed hitting. A 6.16 slugging, 396 WOBA, a 58.7% fly ball rate, and a 21.7% ground ball rate. Not going to get the job done against a guy that does so well off lefties. And when you're looking at what Skubal throws on, he is a strictly fastball slider guy. Throws about a 94.5 mile an hour fastball on average. And when looking at how Mark Canha fares against that pitch, he has a 333 ISO with a 490 WOBA. And then when he's going to break out the slider, Mark Canha can crush that pitch as well. A 400 ISO with a 484 WOBA. Love this spot for Mark Canha, and he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Mark Canha, get him in your lineups, and that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. And then don't forget, you can check out my premium content linked below in the description if you are interested. Wish you guys all the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.